Welcome back. 20 years ago, 6 firefighters from Aurora, they drove 16 hours nonstop to New York City, and then they spent 4 straight days working tirelessly to help the victims of the World Trade Center attack.
Yeah, we're thrilled this morning to welcome one of those brave men who's being honored in Aurora for answering that unprecedented call for help. You are looking right now at Aurora Fire Battalion Chief Jason Demas. Good morning to you, sir, and thank you so much for spending a little time with us this morning.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, so do us a favor, if you will. Take us back 20 years ago. None of us who, remember that day are ever going to forget it. But most of us, we watched it all play out from afar. You decided you needed to be there to help. What was it about what you saw that inspired you to action?
Well, a lot of us were coming on shift and coming off shift at the time. Obviously, Eastern time and our time is an hour off, so we were switching shifts. And we were sitting there in the morning, just we saw the fire. We're like, the New York firemen are going to have a hard day with that. We thought it was a Cessna. As we all watched, it wasn't. We saw the second plane hit the towers, and we knew we were under attack. As the day unfolded, our chiefs, in cooperation with the chiefs of the city of Chicago, decided to send teams out there. So throughout the day, they worked on getting a group of people together that were on the technical rescue team with Aurora. I'm sure those chiefs had a hard day picking who they were going to send, and they decided who they were and deployed us out that next morning at 9 o'clock. We left our headquarters station. So I think everybody in the fire department would have went. I think everybody in the country would have went to do whatever they could. So I really look at it as a call to service for the nation. Anyone would have got in a vehicle or any way they could have got there to help.
So many moments of that day, from the fact that the planes hit the towers to the buildings coming down and that plume of dust just covering everything there. And I know that, the responders went out there. Now they've got a host of health problems. I mean, we're talking about exposure to some of the hazardous material that came from ground zero. I'm sure that you saw that and maybe inhaled some of that as you were out there working. Some of you suffer from PTSD over what you witnessed. How are you dealing with that? I mean, these years later.
Well, the health aspect, obviously they've done a lot with documenting who was there, time frames and those things. So I think they're looking out for us that way. I know our city, when we got back, got us on that list. As far as the mental aspect, over the years, I think family was a big part of that, supporting us when we came back, the department supporting us, the city of Aurora. And you got to remember, the fire service and public safety and the police officers, they do this every day. The people that I get the privilege of working with on a day in and day out basis for the last 25 years with the city of Aurora, these men and women go out and do something every day. 9/11 is a large event, but these events happen to people on a day-to-day basis where firemen and policemen are doing this job and making a difference. And I think we need to remember that it's not just one event. It's every day that there's someone out there to help. And we don't do this for the money. We don't do this for anything else but to help. And it really needs to be looked at as, how do we call to service this? And I hope that the next generations, as we share this, get that call to service for the next generation of firefighters, the next generation of police officers that are going to go out and help keep our communities safe and keep our communities healthy.
Last thing I want to do.
That's how we're going to have to.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Last thing I want to do is cut you short. But just real quickly, if you could, in a few words, a whole generation wasn't alive on 9/11. In your opinion, why is it so important that we ensure that our young people never forget what happened on that day?
I think it's a call to service. I think we need to make sure that our next generation understands how important it is to have that call to service, to come work in the police, the fire service, or paramedics, or to help your community. We get through things as a community, not as in a silo. So I think by educating and keeping the history alive, we're going to have the next set of responders that are going to respond to the next call that's going to come in. So I think that's the way we get them through that.
All right, Aurora Fire Battalion Chief Jason Demas, thank you so much for everything you do, not only for the folks out in Aurora, but what you did for our nation on that fateful day.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for recognizing Aurora. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.